chapter review done, our chapter reading done while we're on lunch. And I did my bank run for work. That's done. We got 53 minutes left in lunch, and probably I'll have to leave back for work in about half an hour. So we're gonna get do a little. We already did half an hour this morning about that for my reading. Now we're gonna do another half an hour. So to keep things quick, this chili, 23 grams of protein. I'm gonna have one of those. I might have two if I've got time, but I want to start eating like right away to maximize time. Dog's outside doing his thing. Let's heat up this chili. And again, we said 1 can, 23 grams of protein, uh, 20 grams of fat, 40 carb. Let's do this. We grind it. That's it, fam. We grind it. I was gonna do tuna salad, but I think I'll skip that and just keep it. Boom. There's our chili. Tim Hortons chili, one of my faves. Is this a spicy one? Home style chili. Not the spicy one. It's still delish. There. Okay. Here's our spoon, and I'm gonna have some creatine with Metamucil for the focus. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Where's that? Oh God. I gotta get out this. Hang on. There. These lids are very sharp, so you gotta be very careful so you don't cut yourself. Boom. Okay. We are heating up this chili in uno momento. There. Yeah, I'm gonna pop it in the microwave for about a minute. And again, it's 12:17 p.m. Pacific. All right. And then I'll say eat and study with me. Say, or actually, boom. Here we go. Time to eat and study. Orangutan, welcome. New York City, welcome, welcome. How you guys doing? Appreciate being here. Hit subscribe if you're new here. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to study my mutual funds in just a minute, or do the reading for it. And then heating up some chili right now. So it's going to be a really quick lunch. But again, just goes to show, utilize all your time, mindset fam. Utilize all the time that you got. So when you got stuff to do, sometimes you can do some little blocks of studying in the morning or in the afternoon. Like it's afternoon for me, 12:19 p.m. Pacific, or in the evening. So whatever works for you. I mix it up. Again, it's not about perfection. It's just about striving for what works for you. Because some days you're gonna need to sleep in. You didn't sleep well the night before. So just kind of adapt on the fly. So I'll show you guys kind of my setup. Got the MacBook, gonna have the chili, probably have just enough time to eat the chili and do about, I'm gonna say, yeah, 30, 25 minutes of chapter reading. So let's get into it. Tim Hortons chili, one of my faves when tight on time. Just want to get a quick meal in. There it is. I don't want to push it forward too much because I spilled my egg. I did that with my egg this morning that I made for the study and breakfast live. and I spilt it all over the counter. So not doing that. All right, here we go. So mixing it up. Oop. Then we're gonna have some creatine for focus and some juice. Boom. Dogs outside. And I'm gonna read aloud because it helps me with my review. Boom. Okay. Goes these lunches go so quick. And literally, boom. 1 scoop creatine. Boom. 2 scoops creatine. Boom. There we go. And I use All Max Nutrition Creatine Monohydrate. Again, hit subscribe if you're new here. We go live daily for lunch with me, study with me, workout with me, dinner with me, etc. So if you like that kind of content, get subscribed. There we go, a little Metamucil. Creatine. I just eyeball it right about there. Because again, the creatine will dilute it quite a bit. Norma Bates. I just replaced all the carbon at my motel. Nah, Bates Motel. Oh my god, nice. Funny. Very funny. I love that show, Bates Motel. It's awesome. Hang on. Let's literally get, because again, even if you add it all up, even if you do 20 minutes morning, 20 minutes afternoon, 20 minutes evening, there's your hour, right? Sometimes you got to break it down like that. Okay, bottoms up, mindset fam. Metamucil and creatine. Little stir. Little stir. All right. There we go. Delish. All right. Metamucil's going away. Boom. And show? What show? Have you seen Norman? Oh my god. Funny. Okay. I'll be right back. And then we got to start our study session. In uno momento. Putting everything else back at the door. And I'm gonna have to go back to work. And then actually, what? Right back, myself down. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, actually, let's gotta do level surface. All right. 10-7. All right, mine's fam. Going over here. I've never seen that texture on a ceiling before. I know. Yeah, it's hang on. Just gotta get you guys against the wall. It's old school 90s ceiling. Yeah. Old school 90s ceiling. So, yo, what's going on? AS Hamlick. Welcome. You're back, but if you're in Canada, that seems way past lunchtime, but thankful. Yeah. No, it's definitely lunchtime. 12:26 p.m. Pacific, so I'm literally gonna rip through 20 minutes of reading. Afternoon Mindset Fam. Again, chapter 10. And we are on 10-7. There's about 18 pages in this chapter. Hang on. Let me find it. And again, I'm just going to do reading aloud. It helps me, again, absorb the material. Here we go. So we just finished off this morning, ease of estate planning. So that was talking about your portfolio, your mutual fund portfolio can still be managed while you're going through probate, which is a huge plus. These are talking about the advantages and disadvantages of mutual fund investing. I somehow actually studied today. Right on. Good for you. Yes. Well, welcome. But ended abruptly. Where did you leave? Oh, I had to go back to work. And what's with the type of poll? Oh, eat and study with me? Just an idea. Nice. Right on. Excellent. Okay. Here we go. And to help focus for the next 20 minutes while we eat our chili, binaural beats are going on. So it'll be a little more silence on my end. There we go. 40 hertz gamma focus. Let's do this. Check it. And then here's the course. We're on, like I said, 10-7. Here we go. Loan collateral and the term estate refers to all the assets owned by an individual at the time of death. Estate planning refers to planning for the administration and disposing of property of one's estate upon death. Probate is the process of validating an individual's will prior to distribution of estate assets. So probate's validating the will prior to this distribution of estate assets. I see. Loan collateral and margin eligibility. Fund shares or units are usually accepted as a security for a bank loan. They're also accepted for margin purposes, thus giving aggressive fund buyers both the benefits and risks of leverage. Hang on, you guys, there we go. In their financial planning, various special options. Mutual funds consist of not only an underlying portfolio of securities, but also a package of customer service. Most mutual funds offer the opportunity to compound an investment through the reinvestment of dividends. Sponsors of mutual funds file a variety of reports annually to meet their regulatory disclosure requirements. These reports include the Annual Information Form, AIF, audited annual and interim financial statements, and an annual report, among others. So they're heavily regulated. The reports must be provided to unit holders or any person upon request. They're easily retrieved through Cedar Plus, the system for electronic document analysis and retrieval. I've used Cedar before. It's really, really handy. You can find any publicly traded company throughout the world through Cedar. It's SEDAR. They've just changed it a bit. Plus, Cedar Plus. You can get electronic documentation or prospectus for companies. What's going on with my shirt? By the way, your shirt. Nice. I've been questioning. Damn, I'm gonna play a game. Mr. Chili, yep. Noise. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's at www.cedarplus.ca. Increasingly, these reports contain useful educational features such as manager commentaries. Other benefits associated with managed products include record keeping features that save clients and their advisors time in complying with income tax reporting and other accounting requirements. Disadvantages of mutual fund costs. Oh, I know it is bunched up. It's a little bit wrinkled. Disadvantages of mutual funds cost. For most people, a weakness in investing in a mutual fund is the perceived steepness of their sales and management costs. Keyword perceived. Historically, most mutual funds charge a front end load or sales commission and a management fee that was typically higher than the cost to purchase individual stocks or bonds from a broker. Competition in the market has subsequently reduced both load and management fees, and investors are now offered a wider choice of investment options, unsuitable as a short-term investment or emergency reserve because of the fees associated with mutual funds. Most funds emphasize long-term investment and thus are unsuitable for investors seeking short-term performance. Since sales charges are often deducted from a plan holder's contributions, purchasing funds on a short-term basis is unattractive. The investor would have to recoup at least the sales charges on each trading transaction. This disadvantage does not apply to money market funds, which are designed with liquidity in mind. So keep that in mind, like if you're investing in a mutual fund or a mutual fund portfolio, it's not designed for short-term investing because you pay a lot in fees. With the exception of money market funds, fund holdings are generally not recommended as an emergency cash reserve, particularly during declining or cyclically low markets when a loss of capital could result from emergency redemption or sale. Professional investment management is not infallible. Like equities, mutual fund shares or units can suffer in failing markets where unit values are subject to market swings. Systematic risk. Volatility in the market is extremely difficult to predict or time, and is not controllable by the fund manager. Tax implications. Buying and selling by the fund manager creates a series of taxable events that may not suit an individual. Oh, I'm gonna go and let my pup in a minute. How do you understand and focus all of that while doing other stuff too? My ADHD barely lets me focus. That's fair. I do my best when I put on these binaural beats, binaural beats or gamma beats. It helps me zone in more on what I'm doing, which is crazy. I know there's a lot going on, but hey, I want to stream and show you guys like public accountability that I am doing the thing. And then I will be doing the actual quizzes too. Yo, what's going on, Dark Knight? The fund manager creates a series of taxable events that may not suit an individual's unit holder's investment time horizon. For example, although the manager might consider it in the best interest of the fund to take oh, hold on, actually. Yeah, I probably can't use that because it's copyright. Damn. Hang on, I should probably turn that off. Say no copyright binaural beats. Hmm. Try this one. There, better. I just realized, yeah, hopefully that's not copyright on the other one. Just reading over it. I'm impressed for no reason. Yeah,
For example, although the manager might consider it in the best interest of the fund to take a profit on a security holding, an individual unit holder might have been better off if the manager had held onto the position and deferred the capital gains liability. So just structure of mutual funds. An investment fund is an incorporated company or trust that is established for the purposes of managing the fund's investments for persons who invest in the company or trust. Mhm. By selling shares or units to investors, the fund gathers money and is invested in accordance to the fund's investment policies and objectives by the fund's portfolio manager or managers. The fund earns income principally from dividends and interest it receives on the securities it holds, and from the capital gains it may make by selling securities held in its portfolio. An investment fund can also have capital losses. A mutual fund may be structured as either a trust or a corporation. Mutual fund trusts. The most common structure for mutual funds in Canada is the open end trust. The trust structure allows a fund to itself to avoid taxation. Any interest, dividends, and capital gains income, net of the fund's fees, expenses, and capital losses, if passed to its unit holders each calendar year, will allow the trust to avoid being taxed on its income. As a matter of course, all mutual fund trusts take advantage of this ability to avoid income taxes. Any income that has flowed through to the unit holder is taxed in the hands of the unit holder. Crazy. So the mutual fund trust company doesn't get taxed, but it gets taxed when we make interest and dividends on our money. Crazy. It's nighttime here. I might just made it my routine listening to you before sleeping. Better than doom scrolling, 100%. Mm, mhm. The rate of income tax depends on the type of income that the fund generated. Interest, dividends, capital gains, and the type of account, RSP, the client holds a mutual fund in. The declaration of trust, trust deed, or similar document establishing the mutual fund trust sets out the fund's principal investment objectives, its investment policy, any restrictions on the fund's investments, who the fund trustee, manager, and custodian will be, or simply names the trustee and gives the trustee the power to appoint a manager and a custodian. How many classes or series of units the fund will or may have. Different classes and series having different characteristics are established to make them more attractive to different types of purchasers, general public, pension funds, institutional investors. Mhm. Yeah, so that's the objectives of the fund is called a declaration of trust or a trust deed. Rights and privileges attached to the mutual fund units are specified in the trust deed. Always included is the holder's right to redeem the units at a price that is the same as or very close to the fund's net asset value per unit. Next, determine after the fund receives a redemption request in proper form. Funds unit holders typically are not given voting rights under the terms of the trust deed. Voting rights, if any, set out in the trust deed and those set out in NI 81-102 are described in the fund's simplified prospectus. Yeah, NI 81-102 generally requires the trustee or manager of a mutual fund trust or an incorporated mutual fund to convene a meeting of unit holders to consider and approve certain specific matters. These matters include a change in the fund's fundamental investment objectives, a change in the mutual fund manager, a proposed new fee or expense, or a proposed increase in a fee or expense to be charged to the fund or unit holders, or just decrease in the frequency of calculating the net asset value. Mutual fund corporations. We got a couple more minutes, Mindset fam. Like 6 more minutes. So I'm gonna down this, finish this last page, and then we'll call it there. And then I gotta let in the dog. Mhm. Mutual fund corporations. Mutual funds may also be set up as a federal or provincial corporation. Provided they meet certain conditions set out in the Income Tax Act, mutual fund corporations are eligible for special tax treatment if the corporation's holdings consist mainly of a diversified portfolio of securities. Absolutely. The income that the mutual fund corporation earns must be derived primarily from interest and dividends received from these securities and any capital gains realized from the sale of these securities. Investors in mutual fund corporations receive shares in the fund instead of the units that are received by investors in mutual fund trusts. Ah, yeah. Receive shares in the fund instead of the unit. Yeah. Mutual fund corporations lack the flow through status of mutual fund trusts. However, mutual fund corporations can achieve a similar result by declaring dividends during the course of the year that are equivalent to the corporation's net income after fees and expenses. These dividends are then taxed in the hands of the funds of the shareholders. All right, 10-9. Let's see if we can do one more page. My God, it's dense, isn't it? It is interesting, but it's dense and technical. How are mutual funds organized? While there are specific structural differences between mutual fund corporations and trusts, they both share common organizational features. Governance is the responsibility of the board of directors or the trustee. Day-to-day management is responsibility of the fund manager, well, who can perform a number of key functions on behalf of a fund itself, but most often hires others to attend to many of these functions, including portfolio management, distribution of units, shares, registration, and transfer agency services, accounting, and trade processing. Each mutual fund is required to have an independent review committee, IRC. A single independent review committee can act for a number of separate funds. That's interesting. Directors and trustees. The board of directors of a mutual fund corporation and the trustee of a mutual fund trust have the ultimate responsibility for the fund's activities, including ensuring that the fund's investments are in keeping with the fund's investment objectives. To assist in this task, the board of directors or trustees may rely on the others to provide certain services to the fund, including a fund manager, a portfolio manager, a principal distributor, a custodian, and a registrar and transfer agent for the fund's units and shares. While the fund issues and redeems its own securities, it may enter into contracts with fund managers, distributors, and custodians that spell out the services each will provide and the fees and other charges to which each is entitled. Typically, a fund manager is given overall responsibility and it may hire others to provide portfolio management, back office administration, distribution, custody, and registry and transfer agency services. A fund manager may not act as a fund custodian. As a fund's custodian. Probably have to look at that again. Funds custodian. Related to something you do or just increasing knowledge? It is related to something I am going to be doing. I'm going transitioning back into banking very soon. So stay tuned. The fund manager. The fund manager provides day to day supervision of the fund's investment portfolio. While a fund manager may provide portfolio management to a fund it manages, most often it hires a company that specializes in providing such services, often an affiliated company. In trading the fund securities, the fund manager must or ensure that the portfolio manager of the fund observe a number of guidelines, prohibitions, and restrictions as specified in the fund's trust deed or incorporation documents and simplified prospectus, as well as constraints imposed by applicable laws. Most importantly, National Instrument 81-102. Often, a fund manager will hire one or more portfolio managers to manage the fund's investment portfolio under the fund manager's supervision. The fund manager is responsible for the portfolio manager's actions. Fund managers and portfolio managers generally maintain a portion of fund assets in cash and short-term liquid debt instruments to be able to pay unit holders or shareholders who redeem their units or shares, respectively, pay distributions or dividends in the case of mutual fund corporations, and purchase securities for the fund's portfolio as opportunities arise. A fund manager's ability to properly judge the amount of cash needed and still have fund assets as fully and productively invested as possible has a direct bearing on the success of the fund. Other responsibilities of a fund manager, which it can attend to itself or outsource, include calculation of the fund's net asset value, preparation of the fund's fund facts document, simplified prospectus, annual information form, and other required reports, income tax reporting, shareholder or unit holder record keeping and reporting, and providing instructions to the custodian for the release of the funds cash or securities to settle the fund's purchases and sales of securities. 10-10. Let's leave it there. I'll update that. Crap. 10-10 mindset fam. Not bad. It is interesting because it shows that mutual fund corporations are not taxed. We are taxed as the investor. Dividends, capital gains, upon redeeming the units, right? As long as if you sell, you get taxed. If you don't sell, you're good. The dividends, as long as the interest income, dividends, interest, capital gains are in a tax sheltered account, like a tax receivings account on RSP, for example, we save on those taxes. All right. 20-minute study session done. We got 40 minutes in. We'll probably need more later. I want to see how long I'll have. But it's interesting, right? I got a couple more pages till the end of the chapter. Yeah, just 7 more pages, and then we're done that chapter. Yeah, 100%. Look at the taxes that we pay. Sometimes it's insanely expensive. That's crazy though, that as a mutual fund trust or corporation, they're not taxed income tax. All right, we'll leave it there. Ate the chili. Logging out. All right. And then we can do some quizzes later for chapters 7 through 9. See how I fare. Beauty. Section 4. This is a big section. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters, and then there'll be 4 chapters quizzes, like all combined. I've done up to chapter 6 for quizzes. I got to do 7, 8, 9 quizzes later, so I'll probably do that later. Let's just get out of here. Boom. Oh, how do I do that? Just trying to log out. There. All right, mindset fam. Gotta go back to work, and I gotta let in my dog. He's just doing some sun tanning outside. Again, you do your best, right? Nothing fancy. I think I should go to sleep. Oh yeah, depending on what time it is, man. Yeah, totally. Go to sleep. If you want to start chili, chili's done, and we got 20 minutes of studying and of reading. Excuse me. So maybe happy, maybe healthy, maybe at peace. Peace mindset fam. If I got time, I will stream a cardio session later. But I gotta go. Appreciate you being here. Ciao.